The basement smelled like old paint and betrayal. I was under the sink at 11:30 on a Tuesday night, wrench in hand, trying to stop a leak that had been dripping for 3 days. The sound had been driving me crazy. Drip, 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 like a metronome counting down to something I didn't want to face. But as I reached behind the ancient copper pipes, my fingers brushed against something that didn't belong there. A phone. Sleek, black, expensive. Not mine. Not the one Sabrina carried around like a third hand, constantly checking, constantly posting, constantly performing for an audience I'd never understood. This was her second phone. My name's Ethan Mallory. I'm 38 years old. I run a home renovation business in a mid-sized New England town that thinks it's quaint, but is really just nosy, and I'm apparently the last person to know my wife is cheating on me. I sat on the cold concrete floor, the wrench forgotten, and stared at the phone. The smart thing would have been to put it back, confront her directly, ask questions like a reasonable adult. But 12 years of marriage had taught me that Sabrina didn't do reasonable. She did calculated. She did strategic. She did whatever made her look best to the 2,000 Instagram followers who apparently mattered more than I did. So I unlocked it. Her password was embarrassingly predictable. Our anniversary. The one thing she still pretended to care about in public. The first thing I saw was a text thread with someone named V, with a fire emoji next to it. V. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Wear that dress. Sabrina. The red one? You know what that does to you. V. Exactly why I want you in it. And out of it. My stomach turned to ice. I scrolled up. Weeks of messages. Months, maybe. Photos I definitely didn't want to see but couldn't look away from. Plans, promises, things she'd stopped saying to me years ago. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the group chat. Sabrina, her best friend Becca, and 2 other women I vaguely recognized from her yoga class or book club or whatever social climbing activity she'd been pretending to enjoy lately. The chat was called Operation Fresh Start. Becca. So tomorrow night, you're really doing it? Sabrina. Absolutely. I've got the restaurant booked. Ethan thinks it's our anniversary dinner. Can you believe he actually said yes? Becca. OMG, this is going to be epic. I'll be at the table behind you with my phone. We'll stream the whole thing. Sabrina. Perfect. I need witnesses. I need it documented. He's going to lose his mind, and everyone will see what I've been dealing with. Yoga mom. Are you sure about this? Public breakups are pretty brutal. Sabrina. That's the point. I'm done being the quiet wife. I'm done being underestimated. This goes viral. I control the narrative. Ethan looks like the toxic man-child he is. I look like the brave woman who finally stood up for herself. And Vincent gets to play hero. Vincent. So, V had a full name. Becca. Vincent is so much better for you anyway. Have you seen his house? That smart home setup? The Tesla? Sabrina. I know, right? Ethan's still driving that ancient truck and wearing the same 3 flannel shirts. I'm ready for an upgrade. I read that line 3 times. An upgrade. 12 years of marriage, and I was obsolete technology. The leak above me dripped again. Drip, drip, drip. I took screenshots of everything, every message, every photo, every detail of their plan. Then I put the phone back exactly where I'd found it, finished fixing the leak, and went upstairs. Sabrina was in bed, scrolling through her main phone, bathed in blue light. She didn't look up when I came in. Did you fix it? She asked. Yeah, I said. All fixed. Good. Don't forget we have dinner tomorrow night. Luciano's at 7. I made reservations. I remember. She finally glanced at me. Wear something nice, okay? Not the flannel. Sure thing. I went to the bathroom, washed the pipe grease off my hands, and stared at myself in the mirror. I looked tired. I looked like a man who'd spent 12 years building a life with someone who was about to burn it down for internet points. But I didn't look stupid. Not anymore. The next morning, I called Mason, my apprentice, and the closest thing I had to a friend who wasn't connected to Sabrina's social circle. "Boss?" His voice was groggy. "It's 6 in the morning. I need a favor." "Does it involve coffee?" "It involves you being at Luciano's tonight with your phone and a table near the back." There was a pause. "This sounds like drama." "It is. I'm in. But you're buying breakfast." We met at the Sycamore Lane Grill, the local diner that served as the town's unofficial gossip headquarters. Mason showed up in a paint-stained hoodie, his red hair sticking up in about 7 directions. "So," he said, attacking a stack of pancakes. "What's happening tonight?" I told him. Not everything. I had some pride left. But enough. The hidden phone. The plan. The public humiliation Sabrina had orchestrated like a military operation. Mason's fork stopped halfway to his mouth. "Are you serious?" "Dead serious." "And you're still going?" "Oh, I'm definitely going." "Boss, no offense, but are you insane? She's planning to humiliate you in front of half the town." "I know." "So why—" He stopped, looked at me, started grinning. Oh, you have a plan." "Maybe." "This is going to be good, isn't it?" "It's going to be something." Mrs. Ellery, the 70-something woman who lived next door and knew everyone's business before they did, appeared at our table like a well-dressed ghost. "Ethan, dear," she said, her voice dripping with concern that didn't reach her eager eyes. "I've been meaning to talk to you." "Morning, Mrs. Ellery." "I don't like to gossip." Mason snorted into his coffee. "But I've noticed a certain red Tesla parked outside your house rather frequently when you're at work. That real estate agent, Vincent Cameron. Is that right? Just thought you should know." She patted my shoulder. "Men like that are all flash and no substance. Not like you, dear." After she left, Mason leaned forward. "Dude, the whole town knows. Apparently. And you're just, what, going to let her do this?" "No," I said. "I'm going to let her try." Luciano's was the kind of restaurant that tried too hard. White tablecloths, dim lighting, waiters who introduced themselves like they were doing you a favor. Sabrina loved it. I'd always thought it was pretentious. She was already there when I arrived, wearing the red dress, the one meant for Vincent's eyes, apparently. She'd done her hair, her makeup, the whole performance. She looked beautiful. She looked like a stranger. "You're late," she said. "Traffic." I sat down. "You look nice." "Thanks." She didn't return the compliment. Didn't even look at what I was wearing, which was, in fact, not flannel. I'd put on a button-down and the sports coat I usually saved for funerals. I spotted Becca 3 tables away, phone already positioned, pretending to take selfies. Mason was in the back corner, slouched down, baseball cap pulled low. The waiter came. We ordered. Sabrina made small talk about her day, her job in the local government PR office, some crisis about a zoning permit. I made appropriate noises. Waited. Dessert arrived. Tiramisu for her, nothing for me. My stomach was too tight for food. That's when she put down her fork and looked at me with an expression I'd seen her practice in the mirror. "Ethan, we need to talk." "Here we go." "Okay. I've been doing a lot of thinking lately, about us, about our marriage, about what I want from life." Her voice was getting louder, performative. Other tables were starting to notice. "And I've realized something important. I've been settling. For years, I've been settling for a life that doesn't fulfill me, with a man who doesn't see me, who doesn't appreciate me, who's content to stay exactly where he is while I have dreams and ambitions and—" Sabrina. "And I deserve better. I deserve someone who matches my energy, who wants to grow, who isn't stuck in the past with his blue-collar job and his inability to—" Sabrina. "To evolve into the kind of partner I need. So I'm done. We're done. I want a divorce." The restaurant had gone quiet. Every eye was on us. Becca's phone was definitely recording. This was the moment, the big scene, the viral video that would make Sabrina the hero of her own story. I picked up my water glass, took a sip, set it down carefully. Then I stood up. Sabrina's eyes went wide. This wasn't in her script. I was supposed to yell, to beg, to make a scene that made me look unhinged, and her look justified. Instead, I smiled. Good luck, Sabrina. I pulled out my wallet, put down $300, more than enough to cover the meal and a generous tip, and walked toward the door. Behind me, I heard her voice, shrill and confused. Wait, that's it? Ethan! We're not done talking! Ethan! I didn't turn around. Mason caught up with me in the parking lot, barely containing his laughter. Boss, that was beautiful. Her face. She looked like you just told her Instagram was shutting down. Send me the video you got. Already done. But dude, Becca got it all too. It's probably already uploading. Perfect. What happens now? Now, I said, unlocking my truck. Things get interesting. By morning, Sabrina's video was everywhere, but not in the way she'd planned. The comment section was brutal. Wait, she planned this whole public breakup and he just left? Legend. Imagine being this desperate for attention. Cringe. He dodged a bullet. Look how calm he stayed while she had her tantrum. Anyone else notice she's wearing a dress that costs more than most people's rent to dump her husband? Priorities. Sabrina had tried to control the narrative, but she'd forgotten the first rule of the internet. You can't control anything. I was in my workshop, the detached garage behind our house that I'd converted into an office and occasional crash pad, when Officer Doug showed up. We'd served together back when we were both young and stupid enough to think the Marines would make us heroes. Now he was a cop, I was a contractor, and we were both too old for drama. Except drama had found me anyway. Saw the video, he said, helping himself to the coffee I kept brewing. Whole station's talking about it. Great. Vincent Cameron's been on our radar for a while. Nothing major, but he's the kind of guy who thinks rules are for other people. Rich parents, expensive lawyers, that whole thing. What are you telling me, Doug? I'm telling you to be careful. Guys like Vincent don't like being embarrassed, and if Sabrina's with him now, she's going to do whatever it takes to justify her choices. That means making you the villain. Let her try. Doug studied me. You've got that look. What look? The look you got in Kandahar right before you did something that technically wasn't against regulations, but definitely wasn't encouraged. I have no idea what you're talking about. Uh-huh. Just remember, I'm your friend, but I'm also a cop. Don't do anything I'd have to arrest you for. Wouldn't dream of it. After he left, I got to work. First priority, protect my assets. I called my lawyer, a sharp woman named Patricia, who'd handled my business incorporation and had the personality of a shark with a law degree. I need to file for divorce, I said, and I need to make sure I don't get screwed. Tell me everything. I did. Sent her the screenshots, the videos, all of it. She was quiet for a long moment. Mr. Mallory, I'm not supposed to enjoy my job this much, but this is going to be very satisfying. Give me 24 hours. Next, I changed the locks on the house. Legally, I could do it. My name was on the deed, bought before we got married, and Massachusetts law was on my side. I also froze our joint accounts. Not closed them, just froze them pending the divorce proceedings. Everything by the book. Sabrina showed up around noon. I was in the driveway, loading tools into my truck, when her BMW screeched to a stop. She jumped out, still in yoga pants and a tank top, hair in a messy bun, no makeup. This was real Sabrina, not the performed version. What the hell, Ethan? Morning. The locks are changed. I can't get into my own house. My house, actually. Check the deed. Her face went red. You can't just lock me out. I can, and I did. My lawyer filed the divorce papers this morning. You'll be served by end of day. You, she sputtered. Actually sputtered. You can't do this. You wanted a divorce, I'm giving you one. Not like this. We need to talk about this, divide things properly, work out how you get to keep the house you wanted to leave, work out how I'm supposed to fund your new life with Vincent. Pass. Mrs. Ellery was watching from her porch. So were the Hendersons across the street. Sabrina noticed. You're making a scene, she hissed. I'm making a scene? That's rich. This isn't over. Yeah, it is. She got back in her car and peeled out. I waved at Mrs. Ellery, who gave me a thumbs up. Mason showed up an hour later with sandwiches and news. Dude, you're trending. What? He showed me his phone. Someone had made a meme from the restaurant video. My calm face, Sabrina's shocked expression. Caption: when she plans the perfect breakup, but he's 3 steps ahead. This is insane, I said. This is hilarious. You're like a folk hero, the guy who didn't give his cheating wife the satisfaction. I just want my life back. Well, you're not getting that. But you might get something better. Revenge. He wasn't wrong. Vincent's Tesla was hard to miss. Bright red, custom rims, license plate that said Closing King, subtle as a heart attack. I saw it parked outside the Sycamore Lane Grill 2 nights later. Vincent was inside, holding court at the bar, telling some story that involved a lot of hand gestures. He was exactly what I'd expected. Too much cologne, 2 white teeth, suit that cost more than my truck. I walked in. The place went quiet. Small towns are like that. Everyone knows everyone's business. And my business was currently the hottest topic since the mayor's son got caught with the police chief's daughter. Vincent saw me. His smile faltered, but he recovered quickly. Ethan Mallory, he said, like we were old friends. Buy you a drink? I'm good. Come on, man. No hard feelings, right? These things happen. Sabrina and I, we just connected. You understand? I understand you're sleeping with another man's wife. The bar went even quieter. Vincent's smile hardened. Soon-to-be ex-wife, and she came to me. I didn't chase her. Right, you just happened to be there, in my house, in my bed. Actually, we used my place. Much nicer. He smirked. Smart home system. Heated floors. You should upgrade sometime. I stepped closer. Vincent was taller, but I'd spent 20 years doing physical labor and 4 years in the Marines. He'd spent 20 years selling houses and 4 years in a gym taking selfies. Here's what's going to happen, I said quietly. You're going to stay away from my house. You're going to stay away from me. And when this all falls apart, and it will, you're going to remember this conversation. Is that a threat? It's a prediction. I left before he could respond, but I'd made my point, and I'd planted the first seed. The next day, Vincent's Tesla wouldn't start. When he finally got it towed to the dealership, they found all 4 valve stems removed from the tires and approximately 3 pounds of glitter in the air vents. The day after that, his smart home system started playing Before He Cheats by Carrie Underwood on repeat at 3 in the morning. The day after that, someone ordered 50 pizzas to his house. Cash on delivery. I had nothing to do with any of it, of course. I was too busy working on a kitchen renovation for the Pattersons and definitely not teaching Mason about the vulnerabilities of smart home systems or where to buy bulk glitter online. Doug stopped by the job site. Ethan. Officer. Vincent Cameron filed a harassment complaint. Did he? Says someone's been messing with his property, his car, his house. That's terrible. You should investigate. I am investigating, which is why I'm here. Do you know anything about this? I know Vincent drives a Tesla and has a smart house, both of which are vulnerable to anyone with basic technical knowledge and access to YouTube. Uh-huh. Also, I've been here all week. The Pattersons can confirm. I've been installing cabinets and definitely not doing anything else. Doug sighed. You're going to give me gray hair. You already have gray hair. More gray hair. He paused. For what it's worth, the whole station thinks Vincent's a jackass. But that doesn't mean you should do anything stupid. Define stupid. You know what I mean. I did. But I also knew that sometimes, when the system fails you, you have to create your own justice. Sabrina's social media presence had taken a hit. Her carefully curated Instagram, all inspirational quotes and flattering selfies and performative feminism, was now full of comments calling her out. She'd tried to spin the restaurant video, posting a long caption about toxic relationships and finding the courage to leave, but it rang hollow. People aren't stupid. They could see through the performance. She'd moved in with Vincent. Mrs. Ellery had given me a full report, complete with observations about the number of suitcases, 7, and the fact that Sabrina had taken the good towels, unforgivable, apparently. I didn't care about the towels. I cared about the principle, and I cared about making sure everyone knew exactly who Sabrina really was. Becca provided the opening. She showed up at my workshop on a Saturday morning, looking nervous. "Ethan, can we talk?" "Depends. You recording this?" "No, She held up her phone, showed me the blank screen. "I'm not recording. I feel bad." "You should." "I know. The whole restaurant thing was Sabrina's idea, but I went along with it. I thought it would be funny. I didn't think about how it would affect you." "But you're thinking about it now." "Yeah, because Sabrina's been different. Since she moved in with Vincent, she's not the person I thought she was." "What do you mean?" Becca hesitated. Then, "She's using him. I heard her on the phone with her mom. She said Vincent's just a stepping stone. She's already planning her next move." "Her next move?" "She wants to be an influencer, like a real one. She thinks if she can get enough followers, she can quit her job, get sponsorships, be famous. He's got money and connections. She's using him the same way she used you." I let that sink in. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because it's wrong, and because I have recordings." She showed me her phone, hours of conversations. Sabrina talking about her plans. Sabrina laughing about playing the victim. Sabrina discussing how to maximize the divorce settlement. "Can I have copies of those?" "That's why I'm here." I transferred the files. Becca left looking relieved, like she'd just confessed to a priest, and I had everything I needed. The Founders' Day festival was a big deal in our town. Every year, the town square transformed into a carnival of local vendors, food trucks, and performances by the high school band. Everyone showed up. Everyone. Including Sabrina and Vincent. They arrived like celebrities. Vincent in designer sunglasses. Sabrina in a sundress that probably cost more than the festival's entire budget. They posed for photos. They held hands. They performed. I was there with Mason, manning a booth for my business. We'd set up a display of before and after renovation photos, handed out flyers, talked to potential clients, normal stuff, except I'd also set up a large screen TV. At 2 o'clock, right when the festival was at its peak, the TV came to life. It started with the restaurant video, the full version, not the edited one Sabrina had posted. The version where you could hear her rehearsing her lines before I arrived. The version where Becca's voice could be heard saying, "This is going to get so many views." Then it cut to screenshots, the text messages, the photos, the group chat where Sabrina called me obsolete and discussed her plan to go viral. Then came the audio recordings Becca had provided. Sabrina's voice, clear as day. "Vincent's loaded. He's got connections. I can use this. Get the divorce settlement, get the exposure, move on to someone even better." The crowd around our booth had grown. People were filming, pointing, whispering. Sabrina's face went from tan to white to red in about 5 seconds. Vincent looked confused, then angry. "What the hell is this?" "The truth," I said calmly. "Just thought people should know what kind of person they're dealing with." Sabrina lunged at me, actually lunged like she was going to scratch my eyes out. Mason stepped between us. "You bastard!" she screamed. "You had no right!" "I had every right. You wanted to make this public. Congratulations, it's public." Vincent grabbed her arm. "Let's go." "No, he can't do this. He can't just—" But the crowd wasn't on her side. The whispers had turned to mutters. People were shaking their heads. Mrs. Ellery was standing front and center, arms crossed, looking like a judge at an execution. "You should be ashamed," Mrs. Ellery said loudly. That man gave you 12 years, and this is how you repay him? Other voices joined in. Using people like that? And she works for the town, representing us. My tax dollars pay her salary. Sabrina tried to speak, but Vincent was pulling her away. They made it about 10 feet before Vincent slipped on someone's spilled lemonade. He went down hard, arms windmilling, and landed in a puddle of mud left over from last night's rain. The crowd laughed. Actually laughed. Sabrina tried to help him up, but her heel caught on a cobblestone. She stumbled, fell into Vincent, and they both ended up in the mud. It was perfect. It was karma. It was better than anything I could have planned. Mason was filming. So were about 50 other people. This was going to be everywhere by tonight. Doug appeared at my elbow. We need to talk. Am I under arrest? Should you be? I just played some videos. Freedom of speech. Uh-huh. Come with me. He walked me to his patrol car. For a moment, I thought he was actually going to arrest me. Instead, he opened the back door, made a show of putting me inside, then drove around the block and let me out. What was that about? I asked. Protecting you from yourself. Vincent looked ready to kill you. This way, he thinks I took you away and you get to cool off. I'm perfectly cool. You just publicly humiliated your ex-wife in front of the entire town. She started it. Doug laughed. Yeah, she did, and you finished it. But Ethan, seriously, be careful. People like Vincent and Sabrina don't take humiliation well. They're going to come back at you. Let them try. That's what I'm afraid of. He was right. 3 days later, I got served with a restraining order. Sabrina claimed I was harassing her, stalking her, threatening her. All lies, but with the right lawyer and the right spin, lies could look like truth. Patricia, my lawyer, was furious. This is garbage, pure garbage. She's trying to paint you as the aggressor so she can claim emotional distress in the divorce. Can she do that? She can try, but we have evidence. We have her messages. We have witnesses. We have video of her planning your public humiliation. No judge is going to buy her Victim Act. So what do I do? You follow the restraining order to the letter. Don't contact her. Don't go near her. Don't even look at her if you see her in public. Let me handle this. I followed her advice, stayed away from Sabrina, focused on work, tried to ignore the fact that my life had become a reality show I never auditioned for. But Vincent didn't stay away from me. He showed up at a job site. I was working on a bathroom renovation for the Chens, ripping out old tile, when I heard his voice. We need to talk. I didn't turn around. Pretty sure my lawyer said no contact. That's between you and Sabrina. This is between you and me. I stood up, set down my hammer. Vincent was in the doorway blocking the exit. He looked different, angrier, less polished. You've been making my life hell, he said. Have I? The car, the house, the festival. You think you're clever, but you're just a bitter ex who can't let go. I let go just fine. You're the one who showed up at my job site. Because you need to understand something. He stepped closer. Sabrina's mine now. The house, the life, all of it. It's mine, and you're going to stop trying to sabotage us. Or what? Or I'll make sure you regret it. I laughed. Actually laughed. Vincent, you're a real estate agent who drives a Tesla and thinks a smart house makes you special. You don't scare me. You should be scared. I have lawyers. I have money. I have connections. I can bury you. Then do it. But get out of my job site first. He stared at me. For a second, I thought he might actually take a swing. But he didn't. He just turned and left. Mrs. Chen poked her head in. Was that the man from the festival? Yeah. He seems unpleasant. That's one word for it. The next escalation came from Sabrina. She filed for divorce on her terms, demanding the house, half my business, and alimony. Her lawyer sent a 20-page document outlining how I'd been emotionally abusive and financially controlling. Patricia laughed when she read it. This is fiction. Bad fiction. They're throwing everything at the wall hoping something sticks. Will it? Not a chance. We have evidence. They have accusations. Evidence wins. But the accusations stung. Sabrina was telling anyone who'd listen that I was a monster, that I'd manipulated her, that I'd isolated her from friends, that the public humiliation at the festival was just more proof of my controlling behavior. Some people believed her. Not many, but enough. I lost a few clients, got some cold shoulders at the hardware store, heard whispers when I walked into the grill. It was exhausting. Mason found me in the workshop one night staring at the wall. "Boss, you okay?" "Peachy." "You don't look peachy. You look like you're planning murder." "Just thinking." About how to end this." "What do you mean?" I turned to him. "Sabrina and Vincent think they can outlast me, outspend me, outlawyer me, but they're wrong." "What are you going to do?" "Something they won't see coming." Vincent's weakness was his pride. Sabrina's weakness was her need for validation. Together, they were a perfect storm of ego and insecurity, and I was about to use both against them. Step 1. I hired a private investigator. Not for Sabrina. I already had everything I needed on her. For Vincent. The PI came back with gold. Vincent was broke. Not can't afford a second Tesla broke. Actually broke. The house was mortgaged to the hilt. The car was leased. The designer suits were maxed out credit cards. He was drowning in debt and using his real estate commissions to stay afloat. And he'd been lying to Sabrina about all of it. Step 2. I leaked the information. Not directly, that would be too obvious. But I made sure the right people knew. Mrs. Ellery, the bartender at the grill, a few of Vincent's competitors in the real estate game. Small towns are like forests. You light one match, and the whole thing burns. Within a week, everyone knew Vincent was a fraud. His clients started asking questions. His brokerage started investigating. His carefully constructed image crumbled. Sabrina found out the hard way. She tried to use Vincent's credit card at a boutique downtown, and it was declined. Then another card, then another. She called him, screaming, in the middle of the street. I know because Mason filmed it and sent me the video. "You told me you were rich. You told me you had money." Vincent's response was too quiet to hear, but Sabrina's wasn't. "I left my husband for you. I gave up everything, and you're broke?" It was beautiful. Step 3 was more delicate. I needed Sabrina to self-destruct, and the best way to do that was to give her exactly what she wanted: attention. I created a fake social media account, nothing traceable. Used it to post anonymous screenshots of Sabrina's messages. The ones where she talked about using Vincent. The ones where she discussed her influencer dreams. The ones where she called her followers idiots who'll believe anything. Her follower count dropped. Brands she'd been courting for sponsorships pulled out. Her job, already on thin ice after the festival incident, started asking questions about her social media conduct and whether it reflected poorly on the town. She tried to fight back, posted long, rambling explanations, claimed she'd been hacked, blamed me for everything. But the internet doesn't forgive, it doesn't forget, and it definitely doesn't care about excuses. The final confrontation happened at the Sycamore Lane Grill on a Friday night. I didn't plan it. Sometimes the universe just delivers. I was having a beer with Mason and Doug, celebrating the end of a long week, when Sabrina walked in. She looked terrible. No makeup, hair unwashed, sweatpants and a stained t-shirt. This wasn't performed Sabrina. This was broken Sabrina. Vincent wasn't with her. She saw me and marched over. The bar went quiet. "This is all your fault," she said. "Evening, Sabrina." "Don't evening me. You ruined my life." "I didn't ruin anything. You did that yourself. I loved you. I gave you 12 years. You gave me 12 years of performance, of pretending, of using me as a prop in whatever story you were telling yourself. That's not true." "It is true. And you know it. You didn't leave me because I wasn't good enough. You left me because I wasn't useful anymore. I didn't have the right car or the right house or the right social media presence. I was just Me. And that wasn't enough for you. She was crying now. Real tears, not the performed kind. I lost everything, she whispered. No, you threw away everything. There's a difference. Vincent left me. My job fired me. My friends won't talk to me. I have nothing. You have exactly what you wanted, attention, just not the kind you planned. She slapped me, hard. My head snapped to the side, and the bar erupted. Doug stood up, hand on his belt. Sabrina, that's assault. I don't care, arrest me. At least then I'll have somewhere to sleep. She was unraveling, completely. And part of me, the part that had loved her once, felt sorry for her. But the bigger part, the part that remembered the hidden phone and the planned humiliation and the 12 years of being treated like an accessory, felt nothing. You should go, I said quietly. Where? Where am I supposed to go? That's not my problem anymore. She stared at me. Then she turned and walked out. The bar stayed quiet for a moment. Then someone started clapping, then someone else. Then the whole place erupted in applause. I didn't feel like a winner. I felt tired. A week later, Vincent left town, packed up his leased Tesla, abandoned his mortgaged house, and disappeared. Rumor was he went back to Connecticut, back to his parents, back to whatever hole he'd crawled out of. Sabrina stayed. She moved into a studio apartment on the bad side of town, got a job waiting tables at a diner 2 towns over, and deleted all her social media. I heard she tried to apologize, left a note at my workshop, but I never read it. Patricia advised me not to, and I listened. The divorce was finalized 3 months later. I kept the house, the business, everything. Sabrina got nothing. The judge had looked at the evidence, the messages, the recordings, the planned humiliation, and ruled in my favor. No alimony, no settlement, nothing. Patricia called it the cleanest divorce I've ever handled. I called it justice. 6 months after the divorce, my life had settled into something resembling normal. Business was good, better than good, actually. Turned out that being the guy who stood up to his cheating wife was excellent marketing. I had more clients than I could handle. Mason became a full partner. We hired 2 more guys. Expanded into commercial renovations. The workshop became an actual office. Mrs. Ellery still brought me cookies and gossip. Doug still stopped by for coffee and to make sure I wasn't planning anything illegal. The town still whispered, but now the whispers were about other people's drama. I was free. But freedom came with ghosts. I saw Sabrina sometimes, at the grocery store, at the gas station. She never approached me, never spoke, just looked at me with eyes that held something between regret and resentment. I didn't look away, but I didn't engage either. Vincent never came back. Last I heard, he was selling timeshares in Florida and dating a woman 20 years younger than him. Some people never learn. Becca moved away. Couldn't handle the shame of being associated with Sabrina's implosion. I heard she was living in Boston now, working in marketing, trying to rebuild her reputation. The town moved on. New scandals emerged. The mayor's affair. The high school principal's embezzlement. My story became old news, relegated to the remember when category of local legend. But I didn't forget. 1 year after the divorce, I was finishing a renovation on an old Victorian house when I got a call from an unknown number. Hello? Ethan? It's Sabrina. I almost hung up. Should have hung up. But curiosity won. What do you want? I wanted to say I'm sorry. Silence. I know it doesn't mean anything now. I know I destroyed everything. But I need you to know that I'm sorry. For all of it. The cheating, the public humiliation, the lies, everything. Okay? That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say, Sabrina? That I forgive you? That we can be friends? That everything's fine? I don't know, I needed to say it. You said it. Are we done? Ethan, please. I'm trying to make amends. I'm in therapy. I'm working on myself. I understand now how toxic I was. How much I hurt you. Stop. What? Stop trying to make this about your redemption. You don't get to call me a year later, apologize, and feel better about yourself. You don't get closure. You don't get forgiveness. You get to live with what you did. That's cruel. No. Cruel was planning to humiliate me in front of the whole town for internet points. Cruel was calling me obsolete after 12 years of marriage. Cruel was sleeping with another man in our bed. Don't talk to me about cruel. I was wrong. I know I was wrong. Then live with it. Learn from it. Become a better person. But don't call me looking for absolution. I'm not your priest. I hung up. Mason, who'd been pretending not to listen, looked over. Was that her? Yeah. You okay? Yeah, I'm good. And I was. For the first time in a year, I was actually good. The final piece fell into place 3 months later. I was at the grill having lunch when a woman approached my table, mid-30s, professional, carrying a briefcase. Ethan Mallory? That's me. I'm Jennifer Walsh. I'm a producer for a podcast called Modern Relationships. We cover stories about love, betrayal, and how people navigate difficult situations. I'd like to interview you about your divorce. Not interested. I understand. But I should mention, we've already interviewed Sabrina. That stopped me. She reached out to us, Jennifer continued, told us her side of the story, how she made mistakes, how she's trying to rebuild her life, how she's learned from everything that happened. It's very sympathetic. Of course it is. Which is why I'd like to hear your side. The full story, not the social media version, not the rumors, the truth. I thought about it. Thought about Sabrina spinning her redemption narrative. Thought about her turning herself into the victim again, the brave woman who survived a toxic marriage and came out stronger. Thought about letting her get away with it. When do you want to do this? The podcast episode aired 2 months later. It was called The Man Who Walked Away. I told them everything. The hidden phone, the planned humiliation, the text messages, the recordings, the lies, all of it. Jennifer was a good interviewer. She asked hard questions, pushed back when my answers seemed too convenient, made me examine my own role in the marriage's failure. I admitted I wasn't perfect, that I'd been complacent, that I'd stopped trying, that I'd let the marriage become routine. But I also made it clear, I never cheated, I never lied, I never planned to humiliate her in public for personal gain. The episode went viral, millions of downloads, think pieces in major publications, debates on social media about who was really the villain. Sabrina tried to respond, posted a long Instagram story about my truth and selective editing and media manipulation. But the damage was done. People had heard both sides, and they'd made their choice. The final message I got was from Becca. You won. I hope it was worth it. I deleted the message without responding, because it wasn't about winning. It never was. It was about making sure the truth was told, about making sure Sabrina couldn't rewrite history, about making sure that when people whispered about what happened, they knew the whole story, not just the performance, not just the spin, the truth. 2 years after the divorce, I was working on a restoration project for the town library when Mrs. Ellery found me. Ethan, dear, I have news. Good news or gossip? Both. Sabrina's leaving town. I set down my tools. Where's she going? California, I heard. Some tech company job, fresh start. Good for her. You don't care? Should I? Mrs. Ellery studied me. You know, when this all started, I thought you'd be destroyed. Broken. But look at you. Thriving, building, moving forward. That was always the plan. Was it? Or did you just refuse to let her win? I smiled. Maybe both. She patted my arm. For what it's worth, I'm proud of you. The whole town is. Thanks, Mrs. Ellery. She left, and I went back to work. That night, I got one final message from Sabrina. I'm leaving. I won't bother you again. I just wanted to say, You were right, about everything. I hope you find happiness. I read it 3 times, then I deleted it, because I didn't need her permission to be happy. I already was. 5 years after the divorce, I was married again, to a woman named Rachel who worked as a veterinarian, laughed at my jokes, and didn't care about social media or image or performance. We had a small wedding. Mason was my best man. Doug was there. Mrs. Ellery cried. Sabrina wasn't invited. I heard she got married, too, to some tech executive in San Francisco. Had a kid. Started a mommy blog that did moderately well. Good for her. I meant it. Because my story wasn't about her anymore. It hadn't been for a long time. It was about me, about rebuilding, about learning that sometimes the best revenge isn't destruction. It's moving on. It's living well. It's refusing to let someone else's betrayal define you. 10 years after the divorce, I got a letter. Handwritten, postmarked from California. Dear Ethan, I know I have no right to write to you, no right to ask for your time or attention, but I'm dying. Cancer. Stage 4. 6 months, maybe less. I'm not writing to ask for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it. I'm writing because I want you to know that you were the best thing that ever happened to me, and I destroyed it. I destroyed us, and I've spent every day since regretting it. I hope you're happy. I hope you found someone who deserves you. I hope you never think of me. But if you do, I hope you remember the good times. Before I ruined everything. Before I became the person I swore I'd never be. I'm sorry. For all of it. Sabrina. I read the letter twice. Then I folded it carefully, put it in a drawer, and went to find my wife. Rachel was in the garden, playing with our daughter. She looked up when I approached. You okay? She asked. Yeah, I said. I'm perfect. And I was. Because Sabrina's story was over. Her chapter in my life had closed years ago. This was my story now. My life, my happiness, and no one, not Sabrina, not Vincent, not anyone, could take that away from me. I never responded to the letter. 6 months later, I got a notification, an obituary. Sabrina had passed away, surrounded by family, after a brief battle with cancer. I felt nothing. Not joy, not sadness. Just nothing. Rachel found me staring at my phone. What's wrong? Nothing, I said. Everything's fine. And it was, because the best revenge isn't making someone suffer. It's building a life so good that their absence doesn't matter. It's moving forward, it's letting go, it's winning by refusing to play their game. 20 years after the divorce, I was sitting on my porch, watching the sunset, when my daughter asked me about her. Dad, who was your first wife? Someone I used to know. Do you miss her? No. Do you hate her? No. Then what do you feel? I thought about it. Really thought about it. Grateful, I said finally. Grateful. She taught me what I didn't want, and that helped me find what I did. My daughter considered this. That's pretty wise, Dad. I have my moments. She went inside. Rachel came out, handed me a beer, sat down beside me. Thinking about her? Not really. Liar. I smiled. Okay, maybe a little, but not the way you think. How then? I was just thinking, she wanted to be remembered, to be famous, to matter, and in the end, she's just a name I barely think about. And you? I'm here, with you, with our kids, with a life I actually built instead of performed. Rachel kissed me. You're such a sap. Yeah, but I'm your sap. Lucky me. We sat there as the sun set, and I realized something. Sabrina had wanted to destroy me, to humiliate me, to win. But she'd lost the moment she thought winning mattered more than being real, and I'd won the moment I stopped caring about the game. That was the real revenge, not destruction, not pain, not suffering, just indifference, just living well, just moving on. And in the end, That was worth more than any viral video or public humiliation or carefully orchestrated revenge plot. It was worth everything.